Okay, joint play of the thoracic spine. In order to find T1, what we're going to do is try to do a little bit of pressure. Remember how we sprang on the sacrum for the lumbar spine in order to feel the difference between the movement between sacrum and L5, so we could locate the L5 spinous process. We're going to do a similar thing here. If we push through the sternum, then the connection of rib 1 to the sternum is going to drive T1 posteriorly, so that we will have separation between C7 and T1. So we have to reach around underneath onto the sternum, and we need to spring it A to P in this case. So then we want to palpate, making sure that we're not missing it, so that we want to start palpating at like C6 or 7. And if we're in C6 or 7, we should feel like nothing happening. Then we're between the next two, and what we feel then is separation. I feel this one isn't moving, and this one is in that space, which leaves me to here being C7. Okay, so then I can come to T1. So we're going to test the joint play in relationship to the curve by being perpendicular, so that again we're moving at the combined, but mostly at the inner body joints. So if I have T1 here, I'm going to put the wedge lateral to T1, and at T1 the transverse processes are fairly lateral, but as soon as you start going down, the spinous process is lower than the transverse processes. So I'm really have my thumb a bit inside the wedge here. So then I'm going to push, and I'm going to feel separation between those two spinous processes. You okay with that, Jason?
Yes.
If anything hurts, let me know, okay? So then I'm going to move down to the next set and do the same thing. So for the top ribs, the top thoracic segments, I'm going to follow the curve so that I'm rotating the wedge a little bit forward like this, but not too far forward so that it's pokey. I still want it to be flat. And my arm is going perpendicular to the curve. You'll see the arrows drawn for that on the pictures that you have accompanying lab as well. And then I'm going to move down again and do the same thing. And that at some point, as I'm approaching the top of the curve, I'm going to need to come to the side. And when I come to the side, then I need the foot hand to be on the wedge. I want my hand flat on the wedge so it doesn't hurt my hand to do anything. And again, I'm going to roll it so that it's flat, not too pokey like this, but flat. And I'm going to palpate from the side. And if my arm is straight, then I'm going to feel for the joint play here. As I move down, let's say we would go segment by segment, but as I move down and I get right to the middle, sort of at the flatter area of the curve up here, or the peak, then my force will be more straight down, P to A. And as I move down, now I'm going to start beginning to angle this direction a little. And at this point, when I get to here, maybe one more, the wedge is now hitting into the top of his sacrum there, so I'm going to turn it around. And I'm going to switch the hands that I'm using, so that now this arm is in the direction of force that I want it to go. But now I'm going to be palpating outside the wedge, because I'm pressing on transverse processes, but the spinous process is down lower. Okay? And I'll go here. Typically, the lower thoracic segments are often more mobile, because especially as you get into T11 and 12, because you have floating ribs associated with them and they're not connected to the front.